Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys of Magic. This is Hunter, David, Steven, and Shane. Say what up, guys.
Hi, everybody.
What's up, nerds?
What's up, nerds?
Wow, stealing intros, I see.
Oh, yeah.
We are back doing another episode of Commander Grades, still trekking along with Modern Horizons 3. That is right. If you guys are new here, what this series is we go ahead and talk about the legendary creatures from the set, talk about them as potential face commanders of a deck, give them a grade from all of us, and then give an average grade at the end. This is just our opinions of how we would build the deck and kind of if we like the commander or not. So, yeah, just be here for along the ride. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's kick it off. We will talk about all of the flip walkers first because there are a few of them. This first one, Ajani, Nacatl, Pariah. It's 1 and a white for a 1/2 legendary creature cat warrior. It says when it enters the battlefield, create a 2/1 white cat warrior creature token. It also says whenever one or more other cats you control die, you may exile Ajani, then return him to the battlefield transform under his owner's control. Once it's transformed, it turns into Ajani, Nacatl Avenger. It is a planeswalker with a starting loyalty of 3. It has a +2 ability that says put a +1/+1 counter on each cat you control. It has a 0 loyalty ability that says create a 2/1 white cat warrior creature token. When you do, if you control a red permanent other than Ajani, Nacatl Avenger, he deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to any target, and a -4 ability that says each opponent chooses an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a planeswalker from among the non-land permanents they control, then sacrifices the rest. Starting off with a bang.
Are we?
Bang.
I like this card a lot. It's
Yeah,
2 mana.
Hunter likes it, so it's a bang for him.
Yeah.
He's like a +1/+1 counter fanboy, so it's kind of like
Yeah, and
staple
it's
for
Boros.
him.
It's Boros and it's cats.
See, I think that's exactly where my problem is that like I'm trying to see right now how many cats are actually in Boros or in red, and I've got, let's see, that's 5 if we count the cat ape.
That's a cool type.
So 6,
I mean,
7.
I'll tell you exactly. You want the answer?
Yeah. Do you quick math here?
147.
Red cats.
No, white and red. White and red.
Oh, David said
White
that.
and wed?
But from red cat specific, I counted 12 of all of Magic cats that are in red. My thought here being is like, yes, it's the cat deck. That's really cool. My general feeling is like if you're going to be wanting to play with that Kindred, Boros is probably not the pathway that you want to take. I feel like you would either want to be going with Naya or Selesnya because Selesnya already has like really good choices whenever it comes to that, and I guess Naya gives you like the cat dog commander. I just
mono red as far as cats 31. So there is enough.
I mean, from what I've seen gameplay wise while watching like YouTube videos and like other people playing at like local events and stuff like that, when I see this as the commander, most of the time it is basically just a mono white deck sprinkled with some, red here and there. I mean, I understand kind of why they did it because obviously you need that little anger side because of the story, but I mean, other than that, I mean, it's just basically a mono white cat deck in my mind.
I mean, yeah, that's true. And if you, like you said, you sprinkle a little red, you could put in like triple damage effects and stuff like that. And that 0 effect, you could be hitting
Lightning
people
bolt.
I mean, I'm
You
talking
sure
about
could.
triple damage effects. But yeah, deal damage straight to someone's face with the amount of creatures you have. Seems pretty good.
I'm not here for this card. I actually don't care for this one at all.
I mean, you are here and we are talking about this card.
I
All
too am
right.
here, but I'm not here.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to the grades. I'll kick us off because I'm probably the highest. I'm actually going to give Ajani a B.
Yep, you're definitely the highest.
You are definitely the highest because I too am going to give it a B. I can't go any higher than that. I do think that it is a pretty strong deck. There are a lot of Lord effects that this card can pertain to, and you cannot ignore the fact that just having a simple cat die, flipping this, and then giving all your cats +1/+1, and then its ult being so good, and then all you have to do is plus it one time. It is a pretty aggressive card for sure.
I'm gonna give it a C.
It requires some hoops to jump through, and the backside has like something that's I don't feel like winning you the game, just kind of making your opponents hate you. So I'll give it a C. I think it's playable.
Well, the Ajani is going to get the average grade of a B. Moving on to Grist, Voracious Larva. It's 1 green mana for a 1/2 legendary creature insect. Got Death Touch, and it says whenever Grist or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it entered from your graveyard or you cast it from your graveyard, you may pay a green. If you do, exile Grist, then return it to the battlefield transform under its owner's control. Once it's transformed, it turns into Grist, the Plague Swarm. It is a legendary planeswalker that is a starting loyalty of 3. It has a +1 ability that says create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token, then mill 2 cards. Put a death touch counter on the token if a black card was milled this way. It has a -2 ability that says destroy target artifact or enchantment, and a -6 that says for each creature card in your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 1/1 black and green insect. Powerful ultimate.
Never gonna get there.
Yeah, no, this card is awful.
Don't like it.
No, I don't.
I think it's a cool
Um,
support piece.
I love it. It's not bad.
It's bad.
It's a one.
It's
the-
not a
I don't
bad
care,
card.
man. A 1 mana commander is fantastic. At any point, this is Golgari. It's doing Golgari things. It wants you to do the Golgari things. It rewards you for doing it. It's fantastic. I love it. Do I ever think I would win with it? Absolutely not.
Okay. You say that this rewards you. All right, it's cute. I do like the fact that this is a 1 mana commander option, right? That's really cool. And that's about where I stop liking anything at all about this card. So I understand that reanimation, obviously, yes, that's something that you can do in Golgari. It does have that like silent little tax there where you do have to have that extra green for that to do literally anything. And then whenever you do flip it, the backside is so not relevant. I don't care about the +1. The -2 is cool, but you got a +1 in between that to be able to just like recycle and reuse this. And the -6, you're never going to get there. So like this thing, whenever it is like hitting gas, it's destroying an artifact or an enchantment every other turn.
Well, the
I don't
+1
even
is
think
supposed
you
to
do that.
+1 is supposed to protect it, right? If it obviously if you mill the black card, then a lot of the time your opponent's not going to be swinging in with a 1/1 with death touch. Being able to block. So
Or if they have a creature with any kind of evasion, or if you didn't mill a black card. Like, why does that insect not just come in with Death Touch? Like, why is it like here's a bad creature token, then I'm gonna make somewhat less bad sometimes.
Because,
I
duh.
couldn't tell you.
I got nothing.
I don't like this one.
I'll say it again.
I'm gonna
It's a great support piece, Dave.
I'm gonna be aggressive in this video.
I'm gonna have the same opinion on a lot of these walkers, though. Also, like, I don't like walkers as my commander. People like killing walkers.
That's true. Walkers are a little bit less impactful when it comes to the game of Commander just because they can get attacked multiple times until your next turn.
They also suck at commander damage.
I'll wait until we get to the last walker.
Yeah,
They
I
do
do have
suck.
one of these that I do actually like.
They do suck at commander damage, you're right.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We will start with Steven. Steven, what are you giving Grist?
I'm gonna give it a C. I think it's still pretty fun. It does the thing, and it does it pretty well, and it does protect itself, which I really like.
I'm going to join you there. I think Grist for me also is just going to be a C, middle of the road.
I think I'm gonna go a little lower, honestly. I'm gonna give him a D as a commander.
I said I'm gonna come off a bit aggressive. I think I'm gonna stand by that statement. I'm giving this an F.
All right, well, Grist Voracious Larva gets the average grade of a D. Moving on to Ral, Monsoon Mage. 1 and a red for a 1/3 legendary creature human wizard. It says instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell during your turn, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, Ral, Monsoon Mage, deals 1 damage to you. If you win the flip, you may exile Ral. If you do, return him to the battlefield transform under his owner's control. Once transformed, it turns into Ral Leyline Prodigy. It is a legendary planeswalker with a starting loyalty of 2. It has a static ability on it. It says it enters the battlefield with an additional loyalty counter on him for each instant and sorcery spell you've cast this turn. It also has a +1 ability that says until your next turn, instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. A -2 that says Ral deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 targets. Draw a card if you control a blue permanent other than Ral. And a -8 that says exile the top 8 cards of your library. You may cast instant and sorcery spells from among them this turn without paying their mana costs. Does this card just get bad when it flips?
No.
Worse?
Also no.
I mean,
You
this
think-
card definitely wants you to build a storm deck. Like, without a shadow of a doubt. This card is basically meant to cast it, cast a bunch of shit, cast this, and then get to that 8 as fast as possible.
Because if it's like enters the battlefield with the loyalty counters too, I mean, if you build this correctly, it flips and ults immediately. Like you don't have to build up.
Sure,
that's
but I
bad.
mean,
Yeah.
you are losing the static of instants and sorceries cost 1 less to cast. You now have
No.
to activate his ability.
I
Yeah,
was gonna say, I mean, it's a planeswalker ability here, so it's like it's not necessarily going away, and that just kind of like, if I'm not doing anything else with the commander, I guess I'm gonna be doing that. I'm probably never using that -2. I don't know. I do like card drop, but the 2 damage is probably just gonna be irrelevant. You can kill your opponent's mana dorks.
also that -8. I know you said you can flip it and do it right away, but it is still very random. You might not hit stuff you want.
You might not hit stuff that you want, but it's a good thing that you are in probably the best color combination for you to be able to like do the spell slinging thing and stack the top cards of your library. So
My luck would just flip over 8 lands.
like, I'm not saying that I'm in love with this card, but I do see like this one is actually being playable, and I do like the static ability on the first part of the card as well. I think that this probably, if anything, does work better is just like a backup, like a support piece. If you do have a coin flip deck, so for example, if you picked up like the heads I win, tails you lose precon from a couple years ago, I think that this slots in there as a fantastic, just like support piece.
But if you lose the flip, it just deals 1 damage to you.
That's fine, but if you win the flip, you do even more with it. See, there you go. If you get your commander in play, like it draws you cards on that.
Sure. What do you think, Steven?
I mean, it's a storm deck build. It's just nothing about this card like wows me. I've seen it before. It does the thing, and if you're doing your storm stuff a little smart. The only thing I hate about it is that it is mental math in my mind, and I hate it with a fiery passion.
Mental math does suck.
Yeah.
Mental math. Shane?
I think I'd keep him on the front half, honestly. Again, I don't like planeswalkers as commanders, and I'll nod to Dave. I understand. Strong. But I'll keep him and make
Yeah.
my spells cheaper.
I mean, but there's the chance that one spell will flip it immediately.
Well, no, you
It
can
says
choose
May.
not to, though.
May. Yeah.
Nah.
In other words, if you just keep it on the front half, keep losing flips, this just does damage to you.
Just take
Yeah.
your damage.
I'm gonna beat myself.
I don't like this card. Let's move on to the grades. David, I think you might be highest on this.
I probably am. I think I'm gonna give it. I think I'm gonna give it a D.
Yeah, I'll give it a D too. Thanks, Dave.
All right. I mean, I'll be the only one. I'll give it a C.
And I'm also just going to join you and give it a D as well. The average grade for Ral is going to be a D. Moving on to pre-vampire, Sorin. That's right, it is Sorin of House Markov. 1 and a black for a 1/4 legendary creature human noble. It's got lifelink, it's got extort, and it says at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, if you gained 3 or more life this turn, exile Sorin of House Markov, then return him to the battlefield transformed under his owner's control. Once transformed, he turns into Sorin, Ravenous Neonate. It is a legendary planeswalker with a starting loyalty of 3. It has a static of just extort. It has a +2 that says create a food token, a -1 that says it deals damage equal to the amount of life you gained this turn to any target, and a -6 that says gain control of target creature. It becomes a vampire in addition to his other types. Put a lifelink counter on it if you control a white permanent other than that creature or Sorin.
Cool.
We're seeing a theme here of if you have this permanent other than this card color, it's very weird.
Dude,
Yeah,
-6 is
so-
just dumb.
Could probably move to the grades pretty quickly here.
Ooh,
You like
I'm
this
gonna
card?
disagree with you on this one.
I think this is probably the easiest one to flip. so far.
Sure.
Yeah.
Extort's sick. Sorry, Dave.
In Orzhov, like you just play this with a couple of like the Soul Sister style cards, and like you drop this and it transforms.
Yep.
Okay.
There's a lot of ways for you to be able to do it.
You can gain a lot of life very quickly in EDH
Also-
and just -1ing and doing that many damage to somebody's face.
I
You
just
can
don't
add-
care. I just don't care for this card.
I think
me
that
off.
the Hunter just like hit like the wonderful thing about this too is its ultimate is actually that second ability, the -1. Because it's not impossible for you to just like, all right, I'm gonna set my turn up and I've gained 20 life this turn. Let me -1 my commander and just nuke your life total for 20. And then just like watch you panic as you realize I can just do this again next turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just feel like a lot of the cards we've talked about that we didn't like, you could just do the same thing. Like with, same kind of stuff with like with Grist, for instance. You can drop this, set up your turn very well, and do some fun shenanigans with it. I understand that it's not 20 damage, but I mean it's still going to be something that you could do that's going to be pretty
I
substantial.
think there's a
Oh,
significant
1/1?
difference.
No, I'm not.
A 1/1 with death touch or destroying an artifact is not the same as you lose half your life.
I'm just saying, like, I understand your point. I'm just not thrilled about this card whatsoever. Like, if all it is just gaining life, I could do this with other commanders in this color scheme. This isn't my favorite one.
I mean, I get that. There's like a million options of Orzhov aristocrat life gain shenanigans. Like this is literally just like insert poster child of the entire archetype.
But I think that's kind of like my thing. Like, I mean, when I think about commander grades, I don't just think about the card in itself. I also think about like, well, what other commanders have I seen or played that could do it better? Like, I just kind of wanted to see something a little bit more unique to a certain extent. And I mean, I don't know. I'm just not really here for it.
I mean,
I'm here for it. I like this
as far
card.
as far as uniqueness, I don't know very many Orzhov creatures that could be planeswalkers that can be your commander. I mean, that's pretty unique.
Great point. Great point.
I'll tell you what, it won't be this one.
Shane, do you have anything to add?
I got nothing to add. My only thought was that it has extort on both sides. So that's awesome. I like me some extort.
I do have
Sure.
one huge gripe with this card.
What's that?
The 6 is
food?
nothing.
How sad he looks in the chair.
Well, no, I mean he's supposed to look sad, like he's like a spoiled little brat, right? However, it's like Daddy's not in the picture behind him, like scolding him or something. I want Edgar in there, just like eat your veggies. I don't know.
I'd like to imagine that this is actually Edgar looking at him, like from the perspective.
Just like disdainfully, it's just like, oh, you're my child. I hate everything.
I fucking hate you, Dad.
Let's move on to the grades. We will start with David. David, what are you giving Sorin?
I'm gonna go with a B. I think he's my favorite so far.
I completely agree. Sorin for me is also a B.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and save my good grade for the next one. I'm going to stick with a C on this one.
And I'm gonna stick with a B.
All right. Well, Sorin gets the average grade of a B. And finally, the last flip planeswalker we are talking about is Tamiyo, Inquisitive Student. It is 1 blue mana for a 0/3 legendary creature, Moonfolk Wizard. It's got flying. It says whenever it attacks, investigate. It also says when you draw your third card in a turn, exile Tamiyo, then return her to the battlefield transformed under her owner's control. Once transformed, it turns into Tamiyo, Seasoned Scholar. It is a legendary planeswalker with a starting loyalty of 2. It has a +2 that says until your next turn, whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, it gets -1/-0 until end of turn. It has a -3 that says return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. If it's a green card, add 1 mana of any color. And a -7 that says draw cards equal to half the number of cards in your library, rounded up. You get an emblem whether you have no maximum hand size. That ultimate is nuts.
If you can get there, it's nuts. Yeah.
Steven, you said you saved your highest grade for this one. Talk to me about Tamiyo.
I mean, in my opinion, I think it's the easiest one of the 5 to flip. This comes down turn 1, 0/3. I know that doesn't sound that exciting, but I mean, to be quite honest with you, anything like with like a Lotus Petal and like a Preordain or that kind of like effect, you're flipping this almost immediately, if not by turn 2. It does have the protection because most of the time, early Magic, Nothing's really bigger than a 1, hopefully. So you are kind of setting up a little bit of defense here for this card. My only gripe with this card is its ceiling is so high and the floor is so aggressively low. So you either, I imagine if I built this deck, I'm winning 1 game out of 100, but that 1 game is going to be my favorite game in the world, and it's going to keep me coming back to this card.
Yeah, I think this card's pretty good as well. I don't think it's, well, I mean, I get it. It probably flips pretty easy. I get it. Turn 1 comes down, flips. Sorin also pretty easy to flip with the life gain.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think it's very powerful. I can only hope that you're running Proliferate in this deck as well to get that -7 very quickly. Obviously, you're in the right color combination to do so. But yeah, I think Tamiyo is very powerful.
I think she is too. I'm a little biased. It's Simic. I love Simic. I also like that her +2 is reminiscent of like Jace's, like historically. But this one you don't have to target a creature. So it's just anybody that attacks you, which is nice. And you know, I gotta just pick one creature to do it.
Mm-hmm.
She does protect herself pretty nicely there. I think that my big gripe actually with Tamiyo is kind of what Steven had mentioned. This is a commander that does really well if you can get her down on turn 1 and then be able to flip her either on turn 1 or on turn 2. That way you can hopefully just like climb up very quickly. Because like if you do hit the ultimate, you're gonna win the game. I don't know how you don't win the game. Even just with like the middle ability of the -3, you're putting the card back into your hand, which is something that's very unique as well, because like most of these kinds of like reusal effects, it like exiles the card, or like it gains flashback until end of turn, or like some kind of like weird little caveat there. You're actually putting it back into your hand, which means you can cast it again and like cycle and loop whatever you're doing. I guess my problem here being is if your opponents do have that interaction, if they do have a way to be able to kill the planeswalker, this is a card that I really do think is actually going to struggle a lot to be able to get the engine going a second time in the mid to late game. I think it really capitalizes on just like its overall speed and effectiveness in the early game. And I do think that like once your opponent sees, okay, what your deck did whenever it kicked off, there's a very significant chance that your opponents are just going to be like, okay, well, let's start the game and somebody has a removal spell. So let's drop it on Tamiyo and like stutter that player. And once we've made it to turn 5 or 6, the Tamiyo player's not really doing a whole lot.
Which is why I said 1 out of 100.
I agree with David.
I mean, it also really sucks that this is like it's so dependent on draw, and in Simic, it's the worst color combination for drawing cards.
Horrible, dude.
Yeah. There's literally no support.
No support.
I wonder if there's somebody out there that's just like brand new to Magic, just like, oh my god, I was going to build a Simic deck, but never mind.
Our sarcasm is too it's too strong, apparently.
Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We will start with Steven. Steven, you said you were going to give it a high grade. Let me hear it.
I am. It's going to be an A from me. I do love this card quite a bit. I think all my reasonings were pretty much there for it, and I'm here for it. I want to win that 1 out of 100.
Can't go that high. I'm going to go ahead and give it a B, though.
I'm biased, and bias starts with a B. I'm going B.
I think I've been trying to convince myself, for whatever reason, that Lightning Bolt should be good in Commander, and this is a card that, like, further, I don't know, it feeds into my bias.
Make sure you bolt the Tamiyo.
There you go, dude. I don't want to path this. Like, I'm just going to help you ramp back into it. But if I bolt Tamiyo, then you're really in trouble. I'm going to give this card... No, I'm going to stick with my gut. I'm going to give it a C.
All right, well, Tamiyo gets the average grade of a B. Now, moving on to not the Flipwalkers, we will kick it off with this first one. Arna Kennerud, Skycaptain. That's right. 2, a white, a blue, and a black. For a 4/4 legendary creature, human knight. It's got flying and lifelink. It's got ward, discard a card. And it says whenever a modified creature you control attacks, double the number of each kind of counter on it. Then for each non-token permanent attached to it, create a token that's a copy of that permanent attached to that creature. Is this card good? What is the point of doubling different kinds of counters?
It's cool.
Shield counters get really good in multiples.
Shield, yes. What about 2 flying counters?
I mean, I really think that it's flavored text to a certain extent. I won't lie to you. I really think that the biggest part of the text that we should be reading is the create a token copy of the permanent that's attached to that creature. That is the nuts part, because I've seen some things pop off with this card, and it is aggressive. Like just copying like all that glitters and like other like enchantments that are attached to things. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, it is pretty insane. It's filled with auras and equipment attached to the stuff. You just copy all of that.
Yeah. I like that.
Um,
I like it.
I mean, plus like the +1/+1 counter aspect is actually still really relevant. This actually, I love this card design because it reminds me of like the pre-con commanders of ye olden days, when it was just like, here's a commander and it's like super powerful and it does all the things that you want it to do because it just feeds into itself. Go play.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, 5 mana for a 4/4 flyer, lifelink, that's pretty solid. The ward, I don't actually care for the ward on this one. Discard a card is not a real cost. And in some decks, that's actually like an incentive. If I'm playing like a reanimation style deck or something that cares about a graveyard, it's like, oh, dude, I'm going to target you if I don't have a way to actually pitch a card from my hand.
Yeah.
So, like, that's awesome. But yeah, no, the last ability on this is actually pretty bonkers.
yeah, it's that's nuts.
It's quite rude.
Kennerud. Well, good card, good. Let's move on to the grades. We will kick it off with David.
I'm going to give it a B. I like the card. I don't think it has a super low floor. I think it has a tolerable enough ceiling where it's like it can win a game, but it's not going to be that card that I like dread playing against.
B.
B for me as well. I think this is pretty nuts, but I'm giving it a B, not an A, because of the 5 mana cost.
Yeah, a little expensive, but seems very fun. B.
Little expansive.
Little expensive.
Oh. Arna Kennerud, Skycaptain, gets the average grade of a B. Moving on to Genku, Future Shaper. 2 white blue for a 2/5 legendary creature Moonfolk Wizard. It says whenever another non-token permanent you control leaves the battlefield, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Create a creature token with those characteristics. You can make a 2/2 white fox with vigilance. You can make a 1/2 blue moonfolk with flying. Or you can make a 1/1 black rat with lifelink. It also has another ability that for 3, a white and a blue, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Powerful.
Cards replace himself with keyword abilities. And then that bottom text is kind of like that pre-con I just made where I had to sacrifice 2 treasures and pay 3 and put 1/1 on all my outlaws or my criminals, remember? Right. What do you mean?
This is better.
This is a blink commander.
No, what I'm saying is what? It's the exact same
better.
thing.
This is so much better. This is something you can do at instant speed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I forgot
That
what
is-
the word reminiscent of. That's a really weird word to say. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Genku, I think it's very powerful. Just blink your stuff, and those go away. You make a thing, it comes back. It's fantastic.
Guys, it says leaves the battlefield. You don't even need to blink. If I've got a 2/2 and I attack my opponent blocks and kills my 2/2, I get to replace it because it left the battlefield.
Yeah, I know that, but why would you want it to die when you could just blink it? You could
But
keep
that's the-
both.
That's the wonderful thing. Yes, obviously you should be blinking your stuff with a deck like this. But at the same time, it's like all of your creatures are just like expendable now because whenever they die, you just get other creatures. I mean, I can upgrade my like 2/2 for like a 1/2 with flying that has evasion that's going to help me like pump through and damage through the like end portion of the game.
Yeah, but do keep in mind it is non-token, so most of the things that you're running in a deck are probably good with other abilities that are not just vanilla 2/2s.
What I am doing right now is I am advocating for an additional portion of the card. I'm not saying that that should be the primary game plan. The primary game plan, yes, you are going to be blinking and flickering your things. You're going to have a ton of fun with that because that is what this card wants to do. And then you're going to dump a ton of your mana whenever you just like want to go nutty with it. That's fine. There's also just like that passive, just like, hey, my things don't really go away aspect with this card.
Let me help Dave. What happens when a board wipe happens, Hunter? You just get all the creatures that died that weren't tokens.
True.
I mean, this card's fantastic. I know when I got spoiled, I was probably the highest on it. But yeah, this is a blink commander through and through. I hate saying it because obviously, I mentioned it earlier where I kind of wanted something a little bit more fun and unique, but I go straight to like a dramatic reversal Isochron Scepter. Like just make all the mana, pump all your stuff up, swing for some damage with those flyers. It's a pretty fun card. I do enjoy this. It kind of like reminds me of Brago, because I run a Brago Blink CDH deck, and this is kind of reminiscent of that a little bit, obviously more casual. Sorry.
Hey, David, he said the word reminiscent. Jump on him.
Now I'm gonna let him slide. It's just you, dude.
Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. Genku for me, giving it a B.
Yeah, it's B.
I'm fighting between a C and a B just because I don't like the fact that you really only get the ability 3 times a turn. Oh, it's so shitty. It's probably going to be a B.
You blink this and then you're good.
It's true.
All right, it's a B.
Yeah, we're pretty high on a lot of these cards. I'm gonna give it a B as well.
I would have thought Modern Commander Product 3.
I know.
Good.
It's premium product, has premium cards. Look at that.
Genku Future Shaper gets the average grade of a B. Moving on to Imskir Iron-Eater. It's 6, a black and a red for a 5/5 legendary creature demon. It's got affinity for artifacts. And it says whenever Imskir Iron-Eater enters the battlefield, you draw X cards and lose X life, where X is half the number of artifacts you control rounded down. Has another ability to pay 3 in a red, sacrifice an artifact. Imskir deals damage equal to the sacrificed artifact's mana value to any target. Resident Rakdos player David.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Imskir?
I mean, 2 mana for a 5/5 that draws you cards. I love that. I don't really see a downside here. Plus, like, it dodges commander tax, where the second time you want to cast it, it's still a 2 mana 5/5. Like, this card is fantastic.
Yeah. Best case scenario, you're right.
I don't actually, realistically speaking, I don't even think that that's all that difficult to pull off.
I know.
Decks already run artifacts, and this is a deck that is rewarding you for playing more. Plus, you're in Rakdos, which is very good at making treasures.
Wait,
And those are artifacts.
did you say that
True.
decks already run artifacts?
I know, it's weird.
Why?
This is one of those decks that, like, it rewards you for playing magic cards.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
like,
Seems like a good commander at that point.
it's
Yeah,
good.
Crazy. What do you think, Steven?
Insert David opinion here.
Probably
Good.
pretty safe.
It doesn't mean it's good because it's Rakdos.
Rakdos, when I think of Rakdos, I do think artifact heavy, sacking, doing fun stuff, shenanigans, pissing everyone off. I mean, it does the thing. It rewards you for doing the thing, like David said. I mean, it's pretty interesting. I can't really think of how I would want to build it, but I mean, listen, man, drawing cards is never bad.
Never.
Yeah.
Wins games,
Card draw
actually.
stapled on a commander is always very good.
Yeah, I would
And
never
when you
play
can-
this.
When you can get this down to super cheap, because like David was saying, Rakdos makes treasures, and yeah, this is probably always coming down for 2 mana if you're running the right kind of build around it. I think it's super powerful.
If I'm piloting it, it costs 8, 9, 12. That costs a lot.
It's got anti-affinity. This deck
Yeah.
costs 12.
Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. Shane, this mana value is 8. What is
Yeah.
the grade?
You know what I give commanders with an 8 mana value? A C.
I don't know, man. Soul Ring counts for 3, and that's enough for me to give this a B.
Yeah, I'm actually going to join you there, Dave. B from me as well.
Yeah, now that I heard that opinion, to be quite honest with you, I'm definitely going to give this a C.
Thank you, Steven.
Imskir Iron-Eater gets the average grade of a B. Moving on to Kudo, King Among Bears. It is a green and a white for a 2/2 legendary bear. It says other creatures have base power and toughness 2/2 and are bears in addition to their other types. So just nuke the entire battlefield with 2/2s.
This card. I love this card. David is going to have so much fun when I make anything he plays into a bear tribal deck.
All right. There's some huge downsides with this card.
You're right. Everything turns into a bear.
All of my 1/1 tokens are now 2/2 bears instead. So it
Okay.
actually can pump things. The other thing being is it is going to be really awkward whenever you sit down and somebody is playing their Bear Kindred deck and this just like does nothing.
It wasn't my day to play Magic at that point.
I'll tell you what though, this having a white pip, you can put the old Elish Norn, and then it's just a permanent. Nobody gets anything but you.
That's pretty
Mommy?
cool, yeah. No, I think it's really fun, man. Because I'm imagining that you're gonna be making, hopefully your bear is bigger on your side, and then they're gonna fight smaller bears.
I mean, this card obviously revolves around adding +1/+1 counters to your creatures for sure.
Yep.
It is really fun though, just because like if you're playing against the Eldrazi deck, all these 9/9s and 5/7s and 12/12s mean absolutely nothing. It
They're
is
too
pretty.
bad.
It's pretty fun card to kind of like twist the game in a very interesting way.
Those Eldrazi could still be 2/2 bear annihilators. And that's still very scary.
No, they're still very terrifying. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, the threat of a 2/2 annihilator is a little bit better than like a 13/13 coming your way.
Very true.
Obviously, you're gonna put the queen among bears in here as well. They just synergize too well.
I'm just making a full bear deck. It's gonna be awesome.
Eula. All right, let's move on to the grades. Kudo, king among bears. Shane, what are you giving Kudo?
I love this bear, and bears start with B, so I'm gonna give it a B.
Bear does start with B, but I'm gonna give it a C.
I'm gonna give it a C as well. Sorry, David. I think this card's gonna get a ton of hate just because your deck wants to do something very in particular, and as soon as you see this come down, you're gonna want to kill it as fast as possible.
That, or you have pumped up your little tiny irrelevant creatures to be, I guess, bears. Because you're probably wanting to not play your 4/4s if they're just gonna be 2/2s. And then like you kill this thing at instant speed, and then like your combat is way screwed up. I'm gonna give this a C. I think this is a high hate. Super fun. Absolutely would love to play against this. Have yet to do that yet. So Shane, please build this. I think it would be hilarious.
These people
but
clearly don't know what bear starts with, so
Kudo, king among bears, gets the average grade of a C. Moving on to Nadu, Winged Wisdom. It is 1, a green and a blue for a 3/4 legendary creature bird wizard. Got flying, and it says creatures you control have, whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. This ability triggers only twice each turn.
thank goodness it says that last line of text. Otherwise, this would be
Yeah,
way
because-
broken, dude.
I would have done the same thing if I was David. I would have just walked out.
What?
Oh, hi everybody. This is actually David from the future. Jumping back into this video. I don't know where we're talking about this. This is a commander grades video where we talk about potential commander options. This card is banned. This is once again, this is me from the future. So
Get this
like,
future man out of here. Get out of here.
For everyone still here listening at home, this was not a planned skit. I promise.
I really had no idea.
Yeah. David's alluding to this card is busted.
Yeah.
It is way too powerful. I don't know why they stapled on this ability triggers only twice each turn. Like
they
Important.
twice is a lot.
I know what it is.
Tell me.
All right. They were designing this card and they put the quotation mark in the wrong place. It needed to end at the previous sentence.
Yeah. It's
That's true. I'm like reading it
It's-
now like that.
so powerful. Like yeah, it's
I don't understand it.
I don't
My
think we ever need
favorite
to
part
play.
about
It-
this card for sure is that you reveal the top card of your library. So even if you deck yourself, you technically don't draw that last card.
Yeah. I mean, it gets rid of all the safety valves. Like, it could have been you had to flip over like a basic land, or the land could have come in tapped, or you could have actually only done this twice per turn instead of twice per creature per turn. I don't understand this card.
I got it all figured out. Wizards
Okay.
wants us to have fun.
By losing
Okay.
turn 4?
Yeah, you just lose the game, dude.
You
By
guys
the
are
time-
optimistic.
By the time it's your turn, this opponent that has Nadu out has 8 lands on the battlefield, and it's turn 3.
You
Yeah,
guys
like
are
Cynic.
so crazy. Steven
Why?
says you lose on turn 4. And Hunter thinks the Nadu player only has 8 lands in play. Guys, this thing drops on turn 3, sometimes turn 2. This is cynic. Be real. You've lost the game turn 2 or turn 3.
Or maybe you just lost again, and then you sit down and play it with this.
That's the correct
this.
way to play against Nadu is with Nadu. Just all 4 people in your pod have Nadu.
I mean, how funny would that be though? If that's how, like, all right, guys, welcome to Steven's Friday Night Magic. What commanders are we gonna? Okay, you're gonna play this. You're playing that. You're playing. Okay, Nadu, you win. So that's for game 1. What are we doing next?
Game 2? Oh, Hunter's gonna play Nadu to game 2? Okay.
It's so powerful. It's beyond capability of building anything else if you're trying to go to a tournament.
Let's just grade it.
You-
I'm ready to
you're
grade
running,
this card.
You're running this card if you're in a commander tournament. Like, it's just gonna be all Nadu. It's gonna be ridiculous, and I can't wait to see when we're at MagicCon Vegas to see how many Nadu decks there are. If
Apparently, yeah.
Future Man is incorrect.
I don't
Nah,
So-
dude, I don't think you're right.
Oh, stop it.
I don't know. I just think that I look at this as it's a powerful card. Yes. Is this cool for CEDH? Honestly, I think so. I think that the format has the ability to readjust. The meta will be fine, and people will be able to figure out how to interact with Nadu. Maybe the trick is you make it a bear with Kudo that literally does nothing. But that will be fine. My problem here being is you sit down this at a casual table and you build this incorrectly, and this still steamrolls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
this is not the playstyle I like. So let's go ahead and move on to the grades. I think we're all on the same page here. Nadu, I think, is so powerful. I don't even want to build it because I think it's just too unfair if you're just sitting at a casual table. But I can respect the powerfulness of it. So it's still an A. It's an A.
I'm not gonna lie. I put this in my upgrade for my Omo deck, and this single card is the reason why I didn't include Lightning Greaves. Because I was like, I'm just gonna accidentally build the wrong commander. I'm gonna say, yeah, this is a slam dunk. This is the most AA I think I have ever seen.
Yep. I'll give the eluding grade that Steven's talking about S+. But I mean A. So.
Yeah, I'll give this an A as well. And the only reason why I haven't built it yet is because I'm waiting to see if it gets banned.
You would be
Find
that
out.
type of player, I understand.
Nadu, Winged Wisdom, gets the average grade of an A. Moving on to Phlage, Titan of Fire's Fury. 1 red, white for a 6/6 legendary creature Elder Giant. Says when Phlage enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it escaped. It also says whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, it deals 3 damage to any target and you gain 3 life. Also has an escape cost of 2 red and 2 white. Dave, I think you love this card.
I do. Probably not for the reasons why you think.
I know. why you love it.
I love this card because it adds a little bit more to a previously existing cycle. I think that this is really cool. It's a Boros card doing Boros things. At the same time, it's not my favorite Boros thing in the world. Lightning Helix, not impactful. I also think that out of all 3 of the Titans, this is the hardest one to escape because this is one that plays around with the graveyard the least. So I'm actually not very high on this card. I really wish instead of it dealing the Lightning Helix effect, if it were just like a Shatter or a Wear and Tear, where it was whenever ETBs, you destroy target artifact or enchantment or something like that.
I didn't see that one coming. Definitely thought you were going to like the Lightning Helix.
Lightning Helix is just not an impactful ability in Commander.
I know. I'm kidding. 3 is pretty little.
I mean, I'd rather just put a lightning bolt in my deck.
Yeah.
See?
Lightning Helix. I don't know. I think this card's very good in Modern because technically this is Modern Horizons.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the cost
What?
of this card is so expensive.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's very good as the helm of a deck.
At that point, you're playing once you escape it, it's just a 6/6 that did a little bit of damage.
Does it on attacks too, so
Okay, did a little more damage.
doing a little bit of damage and you're gaining a little bit of life. I don't know. Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We will start with David.
This hurts.
Come on, I know you like the Titans. Give it a D.
You know what? Hey, I like that. I do like the Titans. I also like the Titans. This card's an F.
Oof.
Oof is right. Holy crap.
Well,
What are you giving it, Steven?
Actually going to give this a D. I don't think I could go as low as an F. I understand David's point on it doesn't really work with the graveyard as much in the color scheme that it's in, but red does have a lot of discard to, draw to, and all that kind of shenanigan stuff. So I think I'll go up to a D on it.
you know, I feel like I feel okay now. I'm gonna give this an F.
I feel like I can do it.
Okay now. I'm actually going to agree with Steven. Phlage for me is going to be a D. And the average grade for Phlage is going to be a D. Next up, Rosheen, Roaring Prophet. It is 2, a red and a green for a 4/4 legendary creature, Giant Shaman. It says when Rosheen enters the battlefield, mill 6 cards. You may put a card with X in its mana cost from among them into your hand. Has another ability, you could tap it, reveal any number of cards with X in their mana cost in your hand. Add 2 colorless mana for each card revealed this way. Spend this mana only on costs that contain X.
We get it.
I
I feel
think-
like X spells.
I would say this is reminiscent
Oh,
of Magus Lucia Kane.
Get him, David.
That's
Get him.
true, except that was way better.
Way better. You know what? I gotta argue on that one. You
No.
can't say that word. No, this card's so different and it's so much better.
Much more better.
I love this card so much because this 100% seems like a card that Hunter would build and he would play, and every single time at ETB, he'd just mill 6 lands. It's just like,
I mean,
that would be it.
You're not wrong, but at the same time, I would never build and play this.
Didn't you build Magus, or was that Steven?
No, he
I
built
built
Magus.
I built Magus.
See, you
But
would do
that's
it. You did it
very-
once.
That's so different.
I don't know. I heard reminiscent, so I don't know what to do anymore.
X spells aren't good. They keep trying to make Hydra Shamans. Like, this is like, I don't want this.
Hydra Shaman. It's just like Hydra Kindred. I don't know if that is good enough. Like,
I
at
don't
all.
think
like,
it is.
I know you're in red too, so you're like, oh, Comet Storm, look at that. But no.
Just play Magus Lucia Kane. Just call it a
Yeah,
day.
Add an
Add a
extra
whole other color.
Let's move on to the grades. Jane, Rosheen.
Me, I'm gonna Rochambeau you for it. I'm gonna give it a D.
Yeah, it's a D from me as well.
Nah, it's a C. I almost said B by accident. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's a D.
Rosheen, Roaring Prophet, gets the average grade of a D. Next up, Shilgengar, Sire of Famine. 3 and 2 black for a 6/6 legendary creature, Elder Demon. It's got flying, and it says sacrifice another creature. Create a blood token. You sacrificed an angel this way. You create a number of blood tokens equal to its toughness instead. It also has another ability you could pay hybrid white-black, hybrid white-black, hybrid white-black. Sacrifice 6 blood tokens. Return each creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Those creatures are vampires, in addition to their other types. Cool.
I mean, I see what the deck wants to do.
What does it
Five
wanna
mana for
do?
6/6 flyers.
It's like
Pretty
on the
good.
card. I see it stapled on the card. Like sacrifice, make tokens, use those tokens, bring everything back you sacrificed. I guess.
Nah, you did like a dummy version of what I like to do.
What do you
Oh,
have?
when I read the card and explain the card? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing to do.
An Elder Demon, David. Sounds like your favorite kind of creature type.
I mean, it is pretty metal. I do like that a lot. I also love the artwork for this card. Everything about this card I really love, except for the majority of its abilities. But like the rest of this card is awesome.
I like this
like
card
everything
except for the
but
text.
Everything.
And on the text, I like all the text of the big frames.
That was a good way to describe what this card does.
The
Uh,
art is incredible, though. Just sitting in a throne of angel wings.
Dude, it is. Like, this card looks really cool. Somebody, like, this is going to be incredibly popular. People are going to play with their Elder Demons / Angels deck, and I think that is super cool. I absolutely love the fact that this card exists. Is this card good? I don't think so. Even if you do reanimate your stuff, like, there's so many board wipes in the game that, like, one board wipe, and now your graveyard is gone because they all had finality counters on it. So, like, your commander literally does nothing.
I mean, maybe you can get around that and remove some finality counters. I don't know.
You know
There are
what? Maybe
ways
I'm
to
looking
move
at this wrong.
counters. Nesting ground, for example.
Maybe I'm looking at this wrong. Maybe, I don't know, blood tokens here could be better than what I'm giving them credit for. I'm thinking about how you want to be able to amass 6 of them and be able to sacrifice. But, like, you can, of course, just use them to be able to filter through your deck. You don't actually have to build this with angels in mind. You can just use this as just, like, a good sacrifice for free and start digging. You know what? I'm changing my mind on this card. We're going way higher.
I'm kind of changing my mind too, because I'm also thinking that this would just be a fun reanimator deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
I think what it is.
Yeah. What the hell?
I think what it is, I got stuck on the angel wings and the angel in like the text chain. Is that what you were doing too?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Just drop the angel entirely. This is a mono black. It's a 5-mana 6/6 with flying, so like that's pretty decent on a body. It can sacrifice at instant speed. You don't have to tap or pay anything for it, and you get a blood token out of it.
So it's an aristocrat. What? It's an aristocrat graveyard strat. Okay, Dave.
I have so talked myself up on this card by just eliminating the possibility of me playing any angels.
So remove the angel wings, the things you actually liked about the card, and you like the card
I
now.
still like it in the art.
I think this is a angel deck. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
of course you do. You
narrow-minded,
like that
sure.
kindred.
Yeah.
This like I'm only running angels in this deck.
Clearly you are. And David's gonna win on like turn 3 somehow.
Well, like it sacrificed another creature to be able to make a blood token too. So like you could sacrifice your tokens. So, like this and an Ophiomancer, that's 3 blood tokens per turn cycle. Like, oh man, we're getting crazy here.
Yeah, add a noted
Yeah.
procession. Pretty cool.
You know what would work really well with this is
What?
if you did this with like a little bit of a life gain strategy, and then maybe you even threw in like the Sorin when you talked
What?
about it earlier.
Wow,
One
just
that-
dropped my grade right
The,
there.
the one that's even
Uh,
included, yeah.
All right, we need to move on
There
from this
goes
card.
that grade.
Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We will start with the non-angel lover, Dave.
You know what? I have gone all the way from a D to a B on this card. This card is a B.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm pretty much at a B as well.
You guys are crazy. This is
All right,
still
Hunter,
a
let's.
C. This
Yeah,
is
I was
still
going
a
to say,
C.
let's do it at the same time. C.
Yeah, Shilgengar, Sire of Famine, gets the average grade of a B somehow.
Yep. Not somehow.
we went from hating this card to skyrocketing the grade.
The final card we are talking about today is the Necrobloom. 1 white, black, green for a 2/7 legendary creature plant. Got landfall that says whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 0/1 green plant creature token. If you control 7 or more lands with different names, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token instead. It also says land cards in your graveyard have dredge too. Dredge is never broken, right, Shane?
Nope. Dredge has never been historically broken since the day it came out. I really like this card. I wanted to build that last Myco synth. Remember that card, Hunter?
Yeah.
Please help me. Yeah, thank
Sure.
you. Yeah, sure.
Micro Tyrant.
That one. I really wanted to build that one. I know this is. I'm not going to use the word reminiscent because whenever I say
This is
that,
way
I get
better.
destroyed. So it's similar, maybe. But no, it's got
There's
landfall
some
on it.
similarities.
Yeah, it's got some similarities. I just love this card. Everything on this card, David will hate, but I love it.
I think you should just replace the word text landfall with Field of the Dead.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But I mean,
But
there
better.
are times where you actually do want the green creature, but yeah, 2/2 zombies are pretty good.
Yeah, this card is amazing. Like I like this card a lot, man. Dredging your lands, you're basically just dredge all of your fetches, and you just will always hit land drop.
Yep.
I
And make
mean,
good tokens.
David sighed a second ago, and I'm waiting for him to shit on this and just get hated on in the comments.
He doesn't. I don't care, dude. I don't care at all.
Yeah, I genuinely don't. This is like Field of the Dead, but worse because
No.
there's so much
What?
less. Yeah, no, this is just strictly worse than Field of the Dead.
So it's not reminiscent. Got it.
Oh,
No,
this
no,
is the
it
part
reminds me
where,
of this.
no,
Like,
no,
this is a
where David-
creature. Creature removal can kill this, obviously. Creature removal can't kill Field of the Dead. There's not a whole lot of land destruction because some people frown on that playstyle for whatever reason. Okay, I don't understand that. Don't hate me.
Don't
The guy that
understand.
puts a wasteland and scavenger grounds in like every single deck he does.
Well, yeah, I mean they're good cards. Okay, you should be running them too. No, I don't know what to say. This card is a good card. It takes a good mechanic and it takes a good ability, and it's just like, here you go. It's Field of the Dead with potential upside.
I can't wait to play
It's
this deck.
because you know what Wizards did? They said, you know what would be a good card to put in Modern? And because Field of the Dead is banned in Modern, they said, you know what? Put it on a creature, and then we can make it legal again.
Yeah, but this one costs 4. Field of the Dead has no mana value.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's not
Oh, they got
reminiscent.
it.
I'll say it again.
Let's move on to the grades. I love this card. For me, it's getting an A.
Thank you, Hunter, because I too am giving it an A.
A.
I think it's really solid. I'm actually going to give it a C. I'm not playing. I think it's genuinely a C.
I'm not surprised. Okay.
The Necrobloom gets the average grade of an A.
Thanks, Dave.
I try.
And that is going to do it for us today. If you guys liked that video, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, so you're staying up to date with all of the content that we're always putting out. Don't want to miss all the cool stuff. Comment down below. Did you guys agree with these grades? Maybe you disagreed completely. Maybe we missed a point. Let us know. Always interested to hear what your guys' opinions are. And in the description, you will find links to the other grade videos that are from Modern Horizons 3. Depending on when you're watching this, you could have all the other ones. In the description as well, you will find links to our social accounts. That's TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, @GuysThatMatter for each one. Follow us on those as well. And on the screen right now, those are all of our Patreon subscribers. If you guys wanted to see what they are seeing, which is not here on YouTube, exclusively over on our Patreon, check the link in the description down below as well, and consider subscribing. And until the next video, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Later.
Don't ban Nadu.
Bye bye.